So welcome everyone. So this video is a detailed description of the model and story we have created for account planning as a prerequisite for my blog on the usage of data action or planning trigger. We have already created the planning model and planning story for headcount planning. In this model, based on the success factors data, we have created generic dimensions for position, gender, contract type, cost center, and organization. Apart from that, we have version and date created as well. While creating the dimensions, do use the SAC features like dimension properties and hierarchies wherever it is applicable for your use case. It mainly for the better performances of your planning model in case of large data. So having too many dimensions in your dimension will definitely create a performance impact. So you can refer to my other blog about the best practices of SAC planning, for which the link is shared in this blog. For this use case, strategic headcount planning, the position dimension of associated fields like division, department, business unit, as the dimension properties. As you can see here, we have created the position as a member, and the division, department, and associated business unit is assigned as a property for the position. Okay. And for organization, we have created the division as a hierarchy, uh, and which can be seen here. And we have the associated properties like currency and location for our. We're not using it in the stories, but just as a reference. The critical part of creating this planning model is like whatever dimensions we have created, there is no link between them. So all the data is coming from success factors, but we don't have any link for the dimensions created here. So actually it allows the Cartesian of all the data for the selected fields when you are creating it in a story, and it will be available as unbooked data in our planning story. Using planning trigger through data action, we will create the rows which will be covered in the later part, for which the unbooked data is essential. So for version, we have created two values, actual and strategic planning. And for date, we have created 2022 and 2023. So ideally, the current year will have the actual data if it is coming from your SF. But here we have not provided any link between the date and dimension, so you will not see any relevant data currently. It will be there will be a Cartesian for all these dimensions associated. And coming to the calculations part, so we have created three measures and one calculated measure. So one is the headcount start, which will be the opening balance, opening headcount of the any location or position or division or department, whichever data you're taking. And hiring is the new hire, which is going to be used for planning, and reduction is as well for the strategic planning for 2023. And the final closing headcount planning will have the calculation we have created here. It is the opening balance plus new hire minus terminations. Okay. And now coming to the story part, let me just go into the story which I've created. So I have created a planning story with all the required fields from the model. So this will have the cross tab of all fields. So as you can see, the fields like contract type, gender, position, cost center, and date, version, organization as part of this. So I will explain the detail of the planning trigger which is created here in the next section when we cover the details about the planning, the data action, and its usage in this story. I mean, to have the dynamic usage of the story, we have added input controls here as well. So if you see, like, there are like many fields, like we have used like 4 as a row columns and 3 as a uh, 3 as a columns. So when we have use the planning trigger, to having too many fields will be clumsy. So to have a dynamic usage, you can have the option to filter it through the input control. The same value will be passed on to the trigger here. And similarly, you have the option to modify the values while during when the trigger is executed. So initially, as you see, the table is empty because we don't have any linked data coming from the model. But if you check the unbooked data here, if I go to the edit section, so for example, I just check on the unbooked data. So you see all the Cartesian values coming here. So it's a combination of all values available. So it is coming as it will be used as a master data for us, and we will be creating through the planning trigger and what is the values should be passed for which particular like contract or gender or position or cost center. So we'll be providing it as an input so that the values get calculated. Okay, I'll just uncheck that. So in the next section, I will explain the data action trigger and its usage in the planning story. Thank you.